Yes, you are listening to Not The Footy Show, 25 minutes away from 7 o'clock, and time for us to introduce our next guest.
Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby. If you need me, call
Yes, and we're going to talk a little bit of hand cycle mountain biking. I think it's probably the best way to put it. And alongside us again, we had him on the show several months ago, is Andrew Ladawi. And Andrew, welcome back.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
No, it's really good. Now, the last time we had you on, you were telling us how you were a mad mountain biker and really enjoyed the sport, and unfortunately had an accident that's seen you now end up in a wheelchair, but you were really missing the sport.
That's right. I was just itching to get onto some sort of mountain bike trail again, and really there's limited sort of trails that are suitable for hand cycles, and there's also very limited hand cycles within Australia. So I went ahead and tried to raise some money for Wheelchair Sports to purchase one, and we ended up reaching that goal. And
excellent.
I've actually got the hand cycle with me out back. So
we're going to have
check
a look
it out later on.
Absolutely. Now, just remind our listeners how much money you had to raise, because they don't come cheap, do they?
Yeah, the hand cycle costs $9,000, just under it. So I managed to raise over $7,000 for that. I put a bit of my money towards it, and Wheelchair Sports chipped in as well.
Oh, fantastic. That's really good. Now, are you dominating it at the moment? Well, there are other people fighting you for it.
I'm the only one in Australia that's looking to get into competitions and that sort of thing, so there's no one really to race or compete with. So I guess I'll take it real easy at this stage and really just introduce it out to the community. I think that's the main focus for me.
Now, I hope that Adam Deans, who we were meant to have on the show last week, and we heard the poor guy broke his ankle, the basketballer, he wasn't having a go on your bike, was he?
No, actually, he would have probably been better off on my one because it's a bit more stable and it's made for that ruggedness. Yeah, he was unfortunately on a recumbent one, so that's very low to the ground, and you can pick up very fast speeds on that sort of thing compared to what I ride. So yeah, that was very unfortunate. I did see him today at the gym, and he seems like he's really progressing along. And
what was it in the end?
I think it was just a torn ligament.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not broken now. Good.
Yeah, it would have been terrible for the guy.
Now, you raised that money, and I know your ambition was to get one of your own. Are you still working towards that goal?
Well, at this stage, I'm happy using the one that Wheelchair Sports has. It was custom sized to my fit, and yeah, at this stage, I'm happy using that, and I am competing for a few events coming up later this weekend and a few earlier next year. So I guess I get preference. But I'm more than happy to get it out there and get other guys to at least give it a try.
Now, the big thing, sorry, John, was you mentioned you're taking part in an event. The Cape to Cape down in Busselton Margaret River Way is the first. I mean, it must just feel amazing to you that finally you're going back on the trail and you've done this. I mean, you must be feeling just so excited.
And what better way to do it with one of the best events in all of Australia in terms of mountain biking. It's good. I just can't wait to get there amongst the mountain biking community. These guys, people are just, more than willing to help out. There was a little situation where two of my support riders had to unfortunately pull out earlier this week. And only a few days leading up to the Cape to Cape this week, I was thinking, oh no, I'm not going to be able to ride by myself. I definitely need support crew there. So, I put out a few messages there on Facebook, sent out a couple of emails and text to friends. And within about 24 hours, I had just all kinds of people sending in, helping hand and people willing to support. So, it's just really enthusiastic about getting back into it with the community.
Now, putting it in perspective, Cape to Cape, Lure to Augusta, is that how it goes?
That's right, yeah.
Yelling
Lure to Dunsborough.
Dunsborough.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so
I'm with you.
South, north.
And on bush tracks?
It's all off-road.
All off-road.
Yeah. I'm actually just for this year restricting it to stage 3 because that's the most exciting one. It's a lot of the technical single trail stuff mixed in with a few other things. Again, because I've spent the last few months raising this money, I haven't really had enough time to prepare myself for the full 4 days. And we're looking at about 45 Ks for stage 3, all off-road.
Now, you mentioned earlier, you're the only guy in Australia who's competing, essentially. So, How do you compete? Obviously, you're having to go into Cape to Cape, which
He's going to win.
Well, it's set up for want of a better term, able-bodied riders, whatever. But all events are going to be set up. You've got no event specifically for you to enter.
That's it, and that's one of the big things I'm really trying to push. At this stage, because I'm the only one riding, I've got no choice but to ride with my able-bodied counterparts, and that has its limitations in terms of the trails and the orientation and distances as well. You can only push so much with a trike, whereas on a bike you can just flog it down the trails. So I think once we build up that awareness, there hopefully in the next couple of years we see some categories or some events there suited for hand cycles.
Now, you mentioned, obviously, you're the first person to be doing this in Australia, so I'm thinking, how did the organisers react when you said, hey, guys, I want to enter and I want to be a part of it?
They love the story, and they're actually going to be featuring me on their SBS documentary, which comes out later in December. They release a 40-minute segment every year after the event, so they'll be featuring me on there. That's how much they love the story.
Do you need a Not The Footy Show T-shirt?
happy to promote it, guys.
You got plenty of them left, haven't you?
I don't think I got any.
Oh, forget that.
Remember, there was a typo on it anyway.
I'll take it.
But, you said other events. Are you looking at other events around Australia? And again, are they as welcoming?
I haven't really looked outside of WA. There is the Gibb River Challenge, which is up towards the northern region of Australia, and that crosses over a couple of borders. Haven't really dwelled too much into it, and I think that event's more suited for a recumbent off-road hand cycle. So hopefully we can probably get one of those in and give it a shot there. That's a longer distance as well. So, but the type of surface we're riding on, it's more just pretty much a road that's it's not a sealed road. Whereas the mountain biking event with Cape to Cape and things like Dwelling Up 100, they're purely mountain bike trails.
Yeah. Are they going to let you go off? Are you going to be going off last, or because I'm thinking that they obviously stagger the start for people anyway?
Yeah, the first stage, everyone just sort of goes at will. They invite the elite riders and those with the guts to challenge them to go to the front, and then after that they put you into, I think it's about 8 categories. For the third stage, I'll just be missing the rolling start, which is usually about 3Ks, I think it is. And I'll just be starting at the end of that. And that way, it clears up the space. You've got the elite riders that are well ahead of us, and I'm not really, stepping on their toes or anything like that.
Yeah, because I can imagine they'd swear if suddenly they come around the corner and you're there. I mean, what sort of speeds are you going to be getting at? You said, obviously when they're going downhill, they're really travelling. What sort of speed would you be getting?
I wouldn't know. I'd have to get a speedo on there, but downhill, you can get around 40 Ks an hour easily.
That's not slow.
No.
Not when you go flying.
Taking turns, jumps, log rolls, that sort of thing.
Wow.
Can you describe the bike for our listeners and just give them an idea of what?
We've got 2 wheels at the front, and they're steering wheels. It's front steering. We've got 1 wheel at the back, which has got the drive chain on it. So you do have a hand crank, and you're in a kneeling position. So you got your legs sort of like a semi-squatting. You've got a chest plate to hold you up, which is also secondary steering. And you've got just your standard mountain bike handlebars, and that's got all the gear shifters, the brakes. So you can use that predominantly for the sharp turns and things like that.
Okay.
And then you can alternate between that and the hand cranks when you need to go.
I'm thinking, again, the strength you must need to get up some of the inclines would be phenomenal.
Yeah, it's not so much the strength, it's more, I guess, the traction. You do lose a bit of traction, I've noticed, on some of the steeper hills, especially the more sandy and the more gravelly trails. And in that situation, I will have a support rider behind me who pretty much just puts their hand on the bucket seat that I've got and just gives me a little nudge up and just prevents me from sliding back down.
Single rear wheel drive, essentially.
That's all it is, rear wheel.
Yeah.
It is a hard slog up hills because this thing, it's about 28 kilos, the one that I've got, and plus my body weight, and you've only got 1 drive chain going there. It's hard work on the back, more so than the arms.
So have you been doing like completely different training even before you got the bike to prepare yourself for this?
Before the event, not really. It was actually, I was more focused on the basketball training because we were leading up to the world champs qualify, so that was the main focus, and still is now up to it. I don't want to do anything silly on the hand cycle into my, possibilities with the Australian rollers. So, yeah, the training in terms of hand cycling now, I've probably picked up about 2 or 3 days of, long distance 20 to 30k rides, and I've been hitting it up in Kalamunda and Mundaring area, where you get some pretty decent off-road trails there.
And I mean, are you doing sort of gym work for your core, or are you doing Pilates? Because I'm thinking that's what you're going to need, isn't it? The core strength?
There is a lot of core strength, even though you're in a kneeling down position and you've got the chest plate. Yeah, you do feel it in the abs and the lower back. Just regular gym routine, a lot of sort of pull downs and cable rows, that sort of thing. Just your regular gym stuff to build up that strength.
Oh, yeah, John and I are looking at your regular gym stuff.
Just regular stuff, guys.
John wouldn't know what a gym looked like.
I've met a few gyms, thanks.
So I've got I'm sure you're heading down to Margaret River. Are you going to be able to sleep the night before? Because it must be so long. Is there a little bit of nerves as well? Because it's the first time you will have gone out on a trail since your accident.
Part of it's nerves, part of it's, I think the majority of it's excitement. I just want to get out there. And I know that within the first few minutes, once I get that little rhythm going on, whatever I was thinking before kind of just washes away. The night before, I've actually got a Red Bull shootout challenge, and that's a 2.5 roughly little run, and that's kind of just for showing off. People dress up in crazy costumes, but also some of the elite riders can deduct minutes from their previous rides, so they use it as that. But I guess the majority of that is just a bit of mucking around, having a good time.
Now, I remember when last time we spoke to you, you were saying, and you were putting out a cry for help on your website, which is breaktheboundary.com, for mountain bikers to either fit GoPros and film tracks so that you could find out which ones were going to be accessible for the hand cycle. Have you had much success with that?
Not really. I've found that I think I'm just going to have to be the guy that sticks the GoPro on and goes in. And that's what we've done a few weeks ago in Kalamunda, and we went down through some very tight sections where we couldn't go around there were a few trees and we couldn't really squeeze through, so we couldn't even go around. We had to pick up logs. My mate sort of left me for dead, and they just belted in front of me, and I just sat there just thinking, for a good 5 minutes, going, someone's definitely going to come behind me. Eventually someone came down and they helped sort of remove the logs, and I had to go around and things like that. But yeah, I mean, you can look. What I noticed was you can look at footage of people with GoPros on their bikes. And I did this in Margaret River a couple of weeks ago. I thought, I can do that. That looks very suitable. Went onto it. I go, oh, no, that camera's very deceiving.
Yeah.
So it's a little tricky.
I mean, obviously, you're really excited about this weekend. You're out there on the cycle for the first time, as Ashley said. But it seems to me, too, just talking here, I mean, the whole idea of getting out there and exploring seems just as much exciting as whether you're competing or not, taking these challenges on.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you're not going to discover certain things just sitting down in a room. You've got to get out there and just enjoy it. And you might discover new trails that other people might not have discovered. And you go, wow, that's something that I've picked up, and this is very suitable for me and other people that want to ride.
Hey, how wide is the track on that thing? At the front, do you know?
So the front is exactly 1 metre for me. Edge of the wheels. You can get some slightly different models which are a little bit narrower, but this one's...
So, I mean, we're not talking a great difference narrow. You're always looking about that metre wide.
A few centimetres shorter, so... But that goes, there's a big difference. Some of the trails we've had to shave off some of the bike just to squeeze through and things like that. We've had to bend trees backwards, so I don't think the tree huggers out there would be too impressed with the stuff that I've been doing.
You can't sort of get it on one wheel and sort of go through.
Yeah, I've tipped it over a few times trying to do that over rocks and things like that, so you just got to be careful.
I suppose because of the nature of three wheels. It's like those little German cars. Remember those things? They used to deliver stuff in little three-wheel things.
The Robin Reliance in the UK, I mean, you touched on that you want to do this competitively. I mean, you're one of the first people, as far as we know, in Australia with one of these hand cycles. Does that mean you're going to have to go overseas to compete?
Well, even overseas, there aren't really that many competitions. There are a few in Europe and America, some of the longer distance rides. that even over there, that they're also really trying to get a push for more athletes. And I guess, again, my main focus would be basketball, and that comes first. I'm sure there's events out there, but we'll just see how it goes.
I mean, that's what you sort of forget when we're talking to you about this stuff. Oh, yeah, you played basketball as well. I'm pretty good at it, too.
National champion.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot going on, Andrew.
Yeah, so I just got to be careful, and the last thing I want is an injury from, pushing it too hard on the trails. At this stage, it's more of a weekend warrior type of thing.
I imagine, though, that doing that would add to your basketball and be immeasurable.
Yeah. They work hand in hand, help each other out, both sports.
Well, Andrew, it's brilliant catching up with you once again. Thanks for coming into the studio, and we wish you all the very best this weekend in the Cape to Cape, and hopefully we'll catch up with you afterwards and find out how it all went.
I'm heading out there now, though, to have a look at this bike.
Yeah,
We've got to go
absolutely.
And check that
if I'm still alive, I'll keep you guys posted.
And, of course, if you still want to get involved with Andrew and support him in any way, you can go to his website, breaktheboundary.com. Even if you go and have a look, trust me, his story will amaze you. But that's Andrew Ladawi. You are indeed listening to Not The Footy Show, 9 minutes away from 7 o'clock, and that was Andrew Ladawi, who, of course, if you're going down to Margaret River, he will be doing stage 3 of the Cape to Cape on the hand cycle. It'll be the first time you'll have seen a mountain bike hand cycle taking part in the event, so a little bit of history being made, so make sure you check him out and give him a big cheer as he goes belting past you.
Oh, I have a feeling Andrew might be doing all the cheering as he's going past. He might be screaming his way around the course. Yee-haw! Yeah, good luck, mate. Enjoy the weekend.